They said when they go outside for a 5 minute break and come back in, bam, they knew what decision to make because now they're in a different frame of mind.
Yeah.
Now they're calmer. Now they're more rational. And so I tell people the key is to get away from your technology, to get outside. It's not enough to go to the break room. Walk outside. If you're on a 20-story building, take the elevator down, go outside for 5 minutes. I'm telling you, this will be incredibly effective for you.
Mm-hmm. It probably also has to do with changing of the body. I mean, of course, being outside freshens you up and gets your brain to get oxygenized, but they say that even the change of your bodily position gives you a different perspective. So that's why you're able to solve a problem. Welcome to the Grow and Learn podcast, your go-to source for expertise and insights on a variety of topics: business growth, leadership, technology, personal and business finance, and more. We've curated a vast network of business experts ready to address your company's most pressing challenges. From corporate growth strategy to leadership, marketing strategy, sales strategy, branding, customer relations, technology, AI, IT security, and beyond, we connect you to the best experts for your needs. Reach out to us for more information or schedule a call at grownlearn.org to explore how we can support you. Welcome to Grow and Learn. Curious minds, open minds, everybody willing to grow and learn in business and personally. Today I'm speaking to Mr. Productivity, Mark Struczewski. He's an extraordinary man with an extraordinary podcast with more than 1,300 episodes. I mean, this is impressive, knowing how much energy and time it takes to record and release an episode. So he's an open book. He's allowed me to ask him anything apart from his social and credit card numbers. I'm welcoming Mark for a wonderful conversation.
Serena, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really excited.
Glad to have you, and thank you for waking up so early. It's 9 a.m. for you. It's quite early to record the podcast, you said, but I'm happy you're here.
Oh, no. I what I meant is I normally don't do interviews in the morning. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. So my day is like well underway by the time we're doing this recording.
Shall we start with that? How do you structure your day? There's a lot of productivity starting from 4:30.
Oh, 100%. Look you have the most control of your day when it starts. Now, I put a little asterisk there. If you hit the snooze button 12 times, now you've gone from entering your day calmly and peace and joy to panic because now you're running late. So we don't want people to do that. I wear an Apple Watch to bed. I do not have an alarm wake me up. I go to bed. I'm asleep between 8:30 and between 8:50 and 8:30 every night, and I'm up between 4:30 and 5. When you have consistent bedtimes and consistent wake up times, you can wake up naturally. Your body wants to wake up and not have to be in an immediate rush. Your body wants to wake up and go, okay, I woke up, you get up, you turn the lights on, you make your bed, and you start waking up naturally. A lot of people, because, well, first of all, everyone has a routine. Most people's routine is unstructured. So it's different every day. Usually, like I mentioned, it starts with panic. But I want to encourage the listener to think about how they can start their day on their terms that's going to give them a good day. No, a great day. And everyone is different. So everyone wants me to share my morning routine, and I will certainly share it with you, but everyone is different. So my wife and I, we work from home. We have 2 dogs. We don't have kids. We don't have elderly parents. That's all we have. If you have kids and parents and in-laws and what have you, well, your routine is going to be different, but you can still create a routine that will serve you. You just got to take your life and figure out how to make it happen.
So from what I understand, the morning routine starts from the evening routine, because you can't have a proper routine unless you go to bed regularly at a time that gives you sufficient sleep. Right.
Yes, because what happens is Sunday night through Thursday night, people go to bed at a reasonable hour and they get up for work. And then they go out clubbing, partying, whatever. On Friday and Saturday nights until 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and they sleep until noon. And then they wonder why, oh, it's Monday. Yeah, because what happens is you got your body off the consistent train. And I go to bed New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, every day I'm in bed at 7:30. I turn all screens off. I go and journal and I read, and then I fall asleep about 8:15, 8:30 at night, and I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm 59 years young, to put that into perspective for you. Now, you may say, well, Mark, I work for a corporation. You can still make it work for you. My favorite thing is when people tell me, well, I got little kids. I'm like, okay, what time do they go to bed? Oh, they go to bed at 7. What time do you go to bed? Oh, 11:30, 12 o'clock. Why? Well, I want some time alone. Why? I mean, I get the fact you want some time alone, but if your kids are going to bed 5 hours before you and all you're doing is watching TV, I mean, if you're working on your side hustle, you're writing a book, that's different. But a lot of people don't understand the power that sleep, good quality sleep gives you. So if you want to have a great day, it's got to start the night before.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic advice. Definitely good sleep is, I would put it as a top priority for well-being anyhow. I mean, of course, everything's important, what you eat, how you move, and so on. But I would put sleep, if not at the top, even.
Mm-hmm.
What made you Mr. Productivity? How did you become Mr. Productivity? Tell us a bit about your story.
Well, for the longest time, I would tell people it started after I was fired in July of 2005. And I decided instead of going back to the corporate world, I would go out on my own, known as a solopreneur. But I didn't know what I should do. So I started out as a wedding and portrait photography, a wedding and portrait photographer, but that failed. However, one of the things that came about from that is my love of speaking and training. So I would go to various clubs here in Houston and I would teach them how to be better photographers, whether it's their kids or their business or whatever. But it wasn't really exciting me. It wasn't lighting me up. And so one day I was on a call with one of my coaches, and I identify as Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, for those of you who are my age. And I was having an ER moment. I was just blue. I was down. And my coach said, what's going on? It's like, this is not you. You're genuinely really like happy. And I'm like, well, I like speaking. I love helping people, but I don't know what I should speak on. And this person told me that, well, why don't you talk about productivity? And I remember saying to him, I'm like, oh, I don't know where that came from, but why would you say that? He goes, I know a lot of people. You are one of the most naturally gifted, productive people I know. You should share that gift with the world. So that was my story. I was telling people that's how I became Mr. Productivity. But the more I thought about it, I have to give credit to my late parents. I was raised in a very structured home where I was known as a latchkey kid. I don't know if they have latchkey kids over in Austria, but that's when you would come home before your parents and you have a key to the home and you'd be all home all alone. I didn't have any brothers or sisters. And I was given chores. So before mom and dad came home, the chores better be done correctly and my homework better be done. And goodness gracious, if I came home and I was out playing with my friends and those things weren't done, let's say it didn't end well for me. And so I have to give credit for getting into productivity when I was a child. I didn't know that this was a thing, that I could become a productivity coach, but that's where it started from.
Mm-hmm. And where is it right now? What kind of people do you coach, or companies? What do you do with this productivity talent?
Right now, I'm focusing on HR professionals. And the reason being is I can help them directly. I can help the department. I can help the entire company. So it gives me a lot of room to wiggle around. But HR professionals have a special place in my heart. I've had several clients who are HR professionals before I even switched to that particular niche. And they kept saying one word, one phrase over and over again, flaming arrows. So most of us go to work, and for the most part, we can schedule out our days. And, we have meetings and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But HR people, they don't know what's going to happen every day. Someone can get sick. There could be a problem at work, someone could have to be written up or fired or hired or whatever, and you have all these issues. So HR professionals have a very unique perspective on productivity and on running their day-to-day operations because they can't sit there and say, I'm going to plan my day from when I get here in the morning until I leave in the afternoon because stuff happens. Most of us, we can control our day, even if you, whether you are an entrepreneur or if you work for the corporate world, but HR professionals, they have a very unique issue to deal with because they never know what's going to happen. And these are the most challenging people to coach because I can't tell them to do everything I tell my other clients to do because they have a different dynamic.
Interesting, but wouldn't this be also valid for heads of other departments where people are also affected? Anybody who's managing people?
Oh, 100%. I once heard one of my other coaches told me the niche is not important, but niching is important. So if someone comes to me and says, well, I'm an entrepreneur, can you coach me? Of course. But if I can't say I can help everybody because that is well, that's a recipe for disaster. It's like nobody can help everybody, even though we can help everybody. So I'm focusing on HR professionals, but I have all my clients have not been HR professionals. I've had CPAs, I've had database administrators, I've had entrepreneurs. So my clients run the gamut, but I'm focusing on HR professionals at this time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's delve into it. What's in the productivity secret box?
Oh, you want my secrets? Oh, I was
No,
not aware
what's
of
in
that.
it? I don't want you to take them out, but just tell us what's in it.
Well, listen, I'm an open book, like I told you earlier. And what I found over my many years, I've been doing this since 2011. It's all got to start with health and wellness, your physical health, your mental health. Because if you are under a lot of stress, if you are physically ill, or you've had like knee surgery, back surgery, you have chronic pain, it's very difficult to be productive. And so I don't start people with here's how to plan, here's how to set goals, here's how to be more productive. We have to start at the beginning. And the beginning is always health. And people, when I tell them this, they kind of look at me weird. They're like, wait a minute, you're a productivity coach. Why are you talking about health and wellness? Because it matters. I mean, look at yourself. If you are not feeling good, you wake up, maybe you slept wrong, you got back pain, whatever. You're not going to be able to be that productive that day because you're going to be dealing with some other pain. But the big thing is mental health. There's a lot of stress, not just in your country, but in the entire world. And that's why I tell people when it comes to news, I've got a saying that says, stay informed, not obsessed. In other words, know what's going on in the world at a 30,000-foot level. And I think that's okay. You should know the basic things that are going on in the world, but you shouldn't know everything that's going on in the world because what it does, it eats you inside and affects your mental psyche. And then you're trying to figure things out. And you can't figure things out because you're stressed and it becomes like a domino effect. So it starts with health and wellness. And one of the things I'm really big on these days is what I call micro breaks. Micro breaks are when you get up from your technology. We're all on these calls all day long. Get up from your Zoom call after your call's finished and walk outside. Now, don't bring your phone. I don't want you to go from one technology to another technology. What I want you to do is go outside and don't talk to anybody. Don't think about what you just did, what you have to do next. Just be quiet. If it's cold, grab a jacket. If it's raining, stand under where it's not raining. If it's hot, stand in the shade. I mean, don't make excuses. Go outside. Don't think about anything. Maybe close your eyes, do some deep breathing, some meditation. If you can, if you work from home like I do, go outside, take your shoes and socks off, and stand barefoot on the ground and just allow that negative energy, that inflammation drain out of your body into the earth. And I encourage people, they go, oh, how often should I take micro breaks? Whenever you begin to feel that sense of overwhelm, frustration, anger, stress, whatever negative emotion you want to talk about, when you feel it. And we all feel when it's starting to come. Maybe you get an ache in the back of your neck. Maybe your head starts to hurt or whatever. Go outside and just give your brain a break. I have never given this piece of advice to someone and they come back and go, oh, I felt worse after my micro break. It works because we are on our technology all the time and our bodies need a break. So take a micro break as often as you need it. I am one of these crazy people. I'm always trying new things. So here in Houston, it usually gets hot, but we do have about 2 weeks of winter. And I go out and ground. The coldest I've ever grounded, what it's called when you're bare feet on the ground, is when it was 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I had blankets on top of my feet. I was wearing a jacket. I had a blanket. I had a hat on, but my bare feet were on the ground because I believe in the power of grounding. Now,
Yeah,
I have not heard anybody.
Do you use
I've not heard
grounding
anybody
mats?
yet. I'm sorry?
Do you use grounding mats or any other technology prompts for grounding, or do you just do the regular old-fashioned grounding on the ground?
Well, you can have grounding mats. The problem is I've done a lot of research on them and the results are not good. It's like they're not really working.
No.
So I tell people if you can. Now, if it's like 10 feet of snow outside, I'm not saying you should go out and shovel a spot to ground. I would do that because I'm weird. I'm not saying you should do that. But if you're going to look for grounding mats, do your research because there's a lot of people selling grounding mats and you find out they don't do anything. So make sure you do your research. I do not have a recommendation. I'm just saying do your research from a reputable source because you can be scammed and you find out it's just the mat with a cord coming out, you plug in the wall and it doesn't do anything. So do your research. There are grounding mats, but you got to find the right one, and that's going to take a lot of research. Don't buy them from Amazon because I've heard people buying grounding mats from Amazon and they're just a scam. So just be careful, but they do exist. You are correct.
And how long do you ground for when you do it on the ground?
Well, in the morning, I'm a daily runner. So in the morning, I will ground for 5 to 10 minutes. But then in the afternoon, I will go outside. It's still very warm here in Houston. And I will go outside and I will ground for about 45 minutes. I'm reading my book while I'm also getting vitamin D on my skin from the sun. So I make a day of it. Now, I realize that people listen to your show. Some people are in cold climates. Some are in wet climates. I just want to encourage people not to make excuses. Let's say, for example, it's raining out. Okay, well, get an umbrella, go out in your yard, not in a lightning storm, obviously, and ground. I've done this before. I've grounded while I'm under an umbrella. My bare feet are on the ground. Now, it's not like 40 degrees outside, but I just don't want people to make excuses because people's default is excuses. Well, I can't because ... Don't make excuses. Find a way how you can ground every day and multiple times a day if you can. There's something powerful that's going to help your mental and physical health so you can be more productive by being outside.
That's a fantastic advice. I've been doing this from time to time, unfortunately not regularly because of all kinds of excuses, but yeah, it definitely does help. I'm excited to introduce a groundbreaking service we're offering in collaboration with our partners, InnoAnalytics. This service is designed to help you identify bottlenecks and uncover low-hanging fruits for innovation within your organization. InnoAnalytics performs a comprehensive assessment through a digital questionnaire that we distribute to your employees. The result is a detailed dashboard that highlights key innovation indicators and areas where improvement is needed. Armed with these insights, we from GrowNLearn will connect you to the ideal consultant, trainer, coach, or speaker from our global network of top-tier experts to address any gaps and drive growth. Don't forget to check out the links in the description for special offers from our partners, including a free LinkedIn profile assessment. Now enjoy the next segment of this GrowNLearn podcast episode. What else? What else is in your productivity
Let me look at my toolbox here. Hang on a second. Okay, another thing I would tell people is to journal. Now, for the longest time, I neglected journaling. I said, journaling. I tried the apps. The apps don't work for me. They may work for you. I like an old-fashioned print journal. And I realized my biggest problem was overthinking what I was journaling about. And the whole point of journaling is just to journal what's on your mind. Just journal. Don't overthink it. Now, I do start the day with 5 journaling prompts I found from some guy on X, formerly known as Twitter. And so I ask myself and answer myself 5 questions in my journal. And I write these prompts out every morning. The first one is, what's one thing that I'm grateful for? Gratitude. What's one thing you're grateful for? The next thing is, what is one thing I'm excited about? And I always answer this the same way, one word, today, because I got a new day. I woke up today. I'm not dead. I got a new day. The third one is, what's one virtue I want to exhibit? So sometimes I write patience, sometimes I write joy, sometimes I write kindness. The fourth prompt is, what's one thing I need to do? This is where the accountability, self-accountability comes in. And the fifth one, which is really hard to write, is, what's one thing I'm avoiding? There's something about writing down the prompt, what's one thing I'm avoiding, and then answering it, because we all know what we're avoiding. Everybody who's listening to this podcast knows there's something they need to do and they haven't done it yet. I have not met a single person that says, can't think of anything. I mean, let me ask you, do you not agree? You're something you know you need to do, but you haven't been doing, correct?
Yeah, there's usually an emotional block, I would say, related to something that you don't want to do. It's not something related to a certain daily activity or anything like that. I think it's for most people the case that it's an emotional block that stops them from. But now the question is, when you put it down and you realize, yeah, this is the thing, and you admit it to yourself, do you still do it?
Sometimes. I'm going to be completely honest on your show. But here's the thing, I will write the same thing over and over again, day after day, until I finally do it. So I don't write it once.
Yeah.
If I have not done that thing, I write it down every day. And I may write it 3, 4 days. And then the 5th day, I'm like, oh man, I'm still writing this thing. And so then for me, I'm kind of stubborn. Sometimes for me, I got to write it multiple times for it to start sinking into my brain. But I encourage people, if you do this prompt and you write something that you know you need to do, I encourage you to write it over and over again every day until you actually do it, because this is going to keep it in the front of your mind. If you write it once, you're going to forget about it. But if you write it every day, you're more likely to go, okay, I've written this thing 14 days in a row. I got to do something about this, and just go do it.
Mm-hmm. It's a good advice, but isn't it something that is actually having the opposite effect? Like drilling down on these neural pathways, saying, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it, and you keep not wanting it and perpetuating the same blockage that you have?
Well, that's a good question, because what I would ask people, if you're writing the same thing day after day, and mine don't go more than 3 or 4 days, does it really need to be done? And so maybe you're writing something on your list that you're avoiding, that in reality, if you stopped and thought about it, you go, why do I even have to do this? And
That's a
this
good
is
point.
another area of productivity I talk about when I talk to clients. They'll tell me they do this and they're having struggle with this. I'm like, why are you doing this? And I am shocked the number of times that people say to me, well, this is the way I was trained, or this is the way we've always done it. So you don't know why you're doing this. And people, I see the light bulbs going off in their head. They're like, yeah, why am I doing this? So I just encourage people to question things, whether you work for a corporation or you work for yourself, and you find yourself wondering why you're doing things. You should know why you're doing everything in your business, whether it's a corporation or you're an entrepreneur. Why are you doing these things? And a lot of people, you may have to do it like in year 1, but now you're in year 3, you don't have to do it anymore, but it became a habit. but now you're wasting time and energy working on this thing that doesn't need to be done anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that targeting a specific industry or line of work is not of importance because what you're teaching and coaching on is applicable everywhere. But is there something specific that that applies only to HR specialists that you say this is what they definitely need out of my toolbox?
No, but I would tell you with little side note there is I think more than most people, HR professionals need to really be cognizant of their mental health
Mm.
because now obviously I haven't coached everyone in the world, but the people I have coached, the people in the HR industry, they have more stress than the rest of us do. Now I'm talking stress at work. Now we all have stress, but I cautioned them. I said, look, you need micro breaks more than perhaps most other people. And they say, I'm too busy for a micro break. That's a strong indication you need a micro break. And I'm like, is the building going to fall down if you take a break for 5 minutes? And the people that pull themselves away from their job duties and go outside, they find they have this renewed sense of energy. They have clarity of mind. And so, what one of my former clients told me is whenever they use micro breaks, whenever they were at an issue, they didn't know what to do because their stress level is so high and they didn't know if they should make decision A or decision B. They said when they go outside for a 5 minute break and come back in, bam, they knew what decision to make because now they're in a different frame of mind.
Yeah.
Now they're calmer. Now they're more rational. And so I tell people the key is to get away from your technology, to get outside. It's not enough to go to the break room. Walk outside. If you're on a 20-story building, take the elevator down, go outside for 5 minutes. I'm telling you, this will be incredibly effective for you.
Mm-hmm. It probably also has to do with changing of the body. I mean, of course, being outside freshens you up and gets your brain to get oxygenized, but they say that even the change of your bodily position gives you a different perspective. So that's why you're able to solve a problem. I've
Right. And
experienced it
then,
many times when
yeah,
I
well, you walk
move
outside. I mean,
around.
you're actually moving. You're actually walking outside. And I've known people, if they're on the third floor, they take the stairs down.
Mm.
They would go to the elevator and they'd stop themselves. They go, wait a minute, it's only 3 floors. And they found that even added to their change of state because now instead of riding down an elevator, they're taking the stairs. And sometimes they take the stairs up. And they said it actually amplified the micro break. So that's something for people to think about.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Wonderful. What else can I ask you, Mark, that you're willing to share? You've given me carte blanche to ask you anything, but I don't want to spill out all your beans.
Well, one more thing I want to give people is to make sure you have fun in life. Make sure you are experiencing joy. So the day we're recording this, I'm a big European football fan. We call it soccer in the United States. Most people call it football. My team is playing the match this afternoon at 2 o'clock, and I will be watching that match.
What's your
And people
team?
will look at me, Man City out of England.
Mhm.
So when people look at me and like, wait a minute, you're Mr. Productivity. How is that productive? I said, you don't understand. Football brings me joy. So I will work all the way up until kickoff and I'll watch the game guilt free. You have got to allow yourself to have fun. It can't all be about work. You've got to go out and have fun with your friends. You got to go on date nights. You got to go watch movies. You got to be silly. It's okay to watch Netflix or Hulu or Apple TV Plus or Amazon Prime Video. It's okay. We are not robots. We are designed to work. We're also designed to experience life. And I want to encourage people to don't think you got to work, 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 work. Allow yourself, you know what? I'm not feeling it. I'm going to take tomorrow off. I'm going to go to botanical gardens. I'm going to go to an amusement park. I'm going to go to a fair, whatever. But please, we get one shot at this life. Enjoy your life. as well as working. It really does matter.
Mm. It's good that you took off the productivity guilt off the shoulder when having fun, because it's a part of it. I love that. Wonderful. Thank you, Mark. It was insightful. And yeah, all of these things, although they seem like a no-brainer, people don't think about them. We've heard them many times, but of course it helps to put them in a structured way and to, start taking the steps.
100%. And I want to encourage people, if they want to find out more about me and what I'm doing, you want to find out about my podcast, I have one place for all that. That's MrProductivity.com, MISTER, MrProductivity.com. If you want, you can sign up for my email newsletter. You can find out about the podcast, read my blog. My About page has got some interesting things. At the bottom of my About page, I've got some quirks about me, because I think we're all quirky. And so, but that one place for everybody, MrProductivity.com.
We didn't talk much about you, though, apart from your upbringing. What are your quirks?
Well, one of my quirks is I'm a lover of Christmas music. And so I will listen to Christmas music any time of the year. Matter of fact, I have a playlist on Apple Music. I think it's got like 7,000 songs on it. And I have Christmas music sprinkled throughout there. I just love not the commercialization of Christmas. I remember growing up as a little child, and I remember the twinkling lights and the Christmas trees and the snow, because I lived up in Rochester, New York. It was a very special time for me, and I got a lot of special memories. So I will listen to Christmas music all the time. I got an Apple HomePod, and I play my playlist, and I'll have friends over, and they'll be listening to music, and is that a Christmas song? I said, yeah, why? It's June. I'm like, so? Who says you can only listen to Christmas music in Christmas time?
You're
so
catching
that's
up
one
for
of my
the hours between 8 and 12 where you've missed every Christmas.
Yeah. And then the other quirk of mine is I'm a 59-year-old solopreneur, and my favorite platform is Snapchat. And people look at me like, Snapchat, isn't that for kids? I have so many friends who are CPAs, COOs, database engineers who use Snapchat. It's a fun platform. And so people find out about that and they go follow me on Snapchat. And they're like, wow, this is fun. So those are just two of the things about me. I don't want to talk about me. I don't want to make this about me. It's about helping your listeners. So those are just two of the things about me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Productivity on the Mr. Productivity podcast. Thank you so much, Mark. It was a pleasure. Thank you for listening to Grow and Learn. We hope that you found our podcast informative, engaging, and inspiring. Our mission is to help you keep growing and learning, and we hope that our conversations and insights have provided you with practical advice and useful perspectives. If you're looking for personalized support and guidance to help you achieve your personal or professional growth objectives, I offer a range of services to help. As a trusted management partner and mentor, I work with businesses in the process of transformation, looking for new streams of business, as well as M&A. With an extensive professional network of experts and mentors, I can bring on board the right person or team based on the specific needs of the company I'm working with. To learn more about the services I offer and how I can help you achieve your goals, visit my website at GrowNLearn.org. You can also reach out to me via email or social media. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this episode of Grow and Learn, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us, and it helps us to continue to create content that is relevant and valuable to our listeners. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights and perspectives with you in the future.